Hello Mo Felting friends, and welcome to this week's Because I Felt Like It video. This week we're going to have a go at a needle felted mobile phone holder. I actually wanted a mobile phone holder and I went out to look for one, and then I thought this is really boring. It's just a block of plastic and I can do something more interesting with it than that. So that's what made me decide to make this. It started off, I was just going to make it like a mossy woody glen with some toadstools and mushrooms and things, and somehow it ended up morphing into this. So if you fancy making one or something similar to it, then follow along with me and I'll show you what I did. It's not quite so much a tutorial, because obviously I change my mind and I do all sorts of things, but I'll talk you through what I'm doing and I hope you enjoy it. And let's get started with this week's one then. So I wanted something that was heavy enough that was not going to let the mobile phone tip up. So when I went out and had a look around for it, I found a piece of wood. I think this is birch tree wood. So what I did was I bought this little piece of wood and I bought a plastic phone holder. Obviously I got my phone holder in the range in the UK, but you can adapt this to whatever mobile phone holder you can find. So what I'm trying to do here is decide where I'm going to keep it. Now this one, if you have a look at my phone holder, it has a hole in the back where you can put a charging cable through, and I wanted to be able to keep that so that I could use it and charge my phone. So I've made this one so that I can pull the plastic holder out, put my charge cable through and all this stuff, and then pop it back into the phone holder if I want to charge my phone up while it's on there. I also decided to buy a plastic or phone holder rather than make it out of wool, because I thought if you're watching something on your phone, it's going to get warm and you don't need it covered in a blanket of wool as well. So this is why I've gone for a plastic holder, and rather than actually make a wool backing for it. So what I'm doing on here is I've taken a piece of felt, it can be any felt or any material really, and I'm using it to mark off where the stand is going to go, because I want to be able to slide the stand in and out. So this is just basically, then I will glue that down. Quick thing while I'm thinking of it, where it goes to the edge of the wood, needle felt a little bit of your final colour on the edge of it, so that when you see it from the back, should you want to, it's going to be blend in with what you've got already on your stand. You'll see what I mean in a bit, but I didn't do it here and I had to go back and add a bit. So this is it. All I'm doing is I'm putting it down, marking it off, and then I will glue the green felt, that bit there, onto it. I've just used some Bostik, but any glue will do as long as it holds it in place. And I'm only obviously putting the glue on either side, not in the middle, because that's where I want to slide the little stand in and out of. Again, depending on what stand you get, you may not need to do this bit. You might be able to just have it stand at the back and then just lift it off and put it back if you want to. It was extremely smelly, so watch out for fumes. And then I've just popped it on and I shall leave that to dry. I'm just checking I didn't do anything silly with it. There we go. And then I'm just going to obviously take the stand back out. I don't want it accidentally glued in place. And then just leave that to dry, and then we can come back in a moment when it's dry and carry on with the next bit. Now I just wanted to show you here, I'd picked up two different ones from the range in the UK, and I wasn't sure which I was going to use. So this would have been just as good, but obviously I would have had to raise it up a bit or my phone would have disappeared down the back of my felting. See where that was raised up a bit more? And I just preferred that one, but obviously whatever phone holder you've got is fine. Now I'm just drawing around my base, and then I'm going to cut some felt out so that I've got something to needle felt onto. Again, I chose this heavy wooden base, but you probably could get away without it. I just wanted something I knew was not going to let my phone tip over. And again, obviously this isn't glued down this time, but I'm tucking it right in and I'm drawing around it so I know where not to put the main part of the felt. So now I'm using core wool, whatever wool you've got you'll need quite a bit. So whatever wool you've got that you don't mind using up, that's what I'm using to create the structure of it. And it does take a fair bit of wool. And then what I've done is I've done that base bit, and then I'm going to keep building up the felt on the side until it reaches the stand that I've got and covers it up on the sides as well. But again, you'll need to adapt this to whatever stand you've got. I'm just showing you really just an idea. You can take the idea and do all sorts of things with it. It's felted reasonably firmly already, because I obviously need it to keep its shape, but there is going to be a lot of felting done onto it as well. So just make sure you don't over felt it so it's really, really stiff. And now what I'm trying to show you here is I have a bag of off bits that I've used for other projects with the wool. So I just literally grabbed, I mean, again, this takes quite a bit of wool, but I didn't want to waste my good wool, if you know what I mean, on it. So I went into my bag of bits I saved, and I just grabbed anything that looked vaguely, just vaguely, like ground colour, because a lot of it's going to get covered over, but I wanted to cover the white part first before I worked on the rest of it. So if you look, there's tons of bits of colour, and I don't care about any of that. I just wanted it to have it so that it was at least kind of nature coloured. And then I've just used it to cover the whole thing over the best I can. As I say, it's not too important because I'm going to cover this over later. If you don't have, which you may not have, all these bits and bobs left, then just use whatever you've got the most of that's a natural colour. So it could be brown, anything like that, or green. You can just cover the whole thing in one colour. It doesn't really matter. I was just using up what I'd got. And I'm taking it underneath where I can, just a bit, because obviously you might see the, in my case, that horrible weird green colour for the felt. You might see that, and I don't want that. So I've just made sure I've covered it all around. So this is literally just covered, and if you have a look, the bit, I've felted on that bit where the thing slides in, and I've also felted, can you see in there? So the whole thing's covered. And I'm just checking that it kind of tucks in and fits around, because you shouldn't really see it from the back once it's done. And now I'm mixing up why I had gone from making it into what was going to be a mossy mound with mushrooms and toadstools on. I started to shape it a bit, and then suddenly it came onto me that it would look really quite cute as a little scene. So this is what I'm building here. I'm just using my stone colour that I mix. A part of the reason it appealed to me was my mum, bless her heart, when she was alive, she used to collect, I don't know whether you've heard of them, but they're called Lilliput Lane cottages and things. And she used to love these cottages, and I actually really liked them as well. And she had loads of them, little houses and shops and things. And they always appealed to me. And that, I thought, while I was doing this, I thought, oh, you know, just as a little nod to my mum, I could turn this into one of those little scenes that you'd buy in these Lilliput cottages and things. And so this is the route I went down in the end, because it kind of just brought back nice memories and things. So that's sort of what I was going for. And I'm sure it's called Lilliput Lane. So if you don't know them, you can have a look them up and you'll see what I mean. So in the end, that's what I was going for, some kind of scene that would kind of nod back to what my mum used to collect. So I'm just doing this from my imagination as I go along. And if you've built something to go around your phone, then really just have a look at it and see what you fancy, because obviously you won't necessarily want to copy what I've done. Just copy the idea of it, or like I say, go and have a look at these Lilliput Lane cottages and things, and that might give you some really nice ideas if you want to do something sort of similar to mine. But it was a labour of love. I really enjoyed making this, and I'm absolutely going to do more 3D scenes like this, because I really, really enjoyed it. It took me a whole weekend to do, but it was one of the nicest things for me to make. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely up there for me with the pictures I make. But then I thought it's weird because really all I've done is make a 3D picture. So maybe that's why it appealed to me. And it's very forgiving. It's even a beginner, even if you've never done it before, as long as you've got enough of the wool that you need to build the shape up with first. Just this is so much fun. Just have a go. You can't, I mean, it's impossible to go wrong. It's impossible to mix the wrong colours, and you can make it as crazy or fantasy or brightly coloured as, or anything that you like. So I really suggest you have a go if you want to do this, if it appeals to you, because I am definitely making another. It won't be a mobile phone stand, but I'm definitely going to make some more 3D scenes. And if you've got any suggestions or ideas for 3D scenes like this, please do leave them in the comments below, because I absolutely will have a go for you and we'll see what we can come up with. But I'll say brace yourself, because I might do another few of these spread out a bit, but definitely doing some more. So if you've done any of the paintings with me or anything, the techniques basically when it comes to making things like the river and the little stones and everything is exactly the same, because I still need to make the river look like a river, so it's got a darker blue and then some white blue bits to make it look like the water's running. The rocks are mixed in the same way that I always do my rocks, which is grab lots of different greys and blacks and a little bit of beige and a little bit of green, mush them together and then just randomly pick bits out. And that's what I've done for mixing all the stones in this. Came from the same pile. It kind of looks messier now because I used all those different base colours, but I'll just build up over those. But this was so relaxing to do. Yeah, my mum had whole scenes set out in her sort of knick-knack cabinet thing, and she had churches with snow on it, and one called the Old Curiosity Shop. And because we came from Kent in the UK, there's a county called Kent down in the south, and that's where I grew up, and it had oast houses and things for hops and stuff like that, and she used to collect the oast houses they did and things like that as well. Great memories for me. But if you have, maybe you lived somewhere that you could sort of make this look like, so it's worth giving it some thought and then just jumping in and trying it. So all I'm doing is just putting in little rocks. The bit I'm doing now, I wanted it to be a sort of a natural looking, but a kind of stone wall coming up a stony hill. But each bit I didn't know what I was going to do for the next bit. I had no plan for this as I went along. I literally just looked at the little area I was working on and decided what to do there. So as it stands at the moment, while I was doing this, I had no clue about what was going to go up the side pillory bits. I was just interested in doing the little bit by the river there. But as I go along, I'm still shaping things with the needles I'm using. And people kept telling me it looked like a horse's hoof, like a fluffy horse's hoof. So I think it does in the end as well, but I was trying to add different bits at the front here. And I think that's what makes this work, is if you've got lots of depth, and depth in the sense that, like, I've done a stone but it's set in and other bits are raised up, so it's not just like a flat colour thing. I hope that you know what I mean. But I thought for me the best way to do this, rather than get overwhelmed with trying to have a final plan for it, that's why I literally just worked. I worked on a little bit, and then I did one side, worked on that little bit, the next bit along kind of almost decided what it wanted to be, and then I would just move around, putting in whatever it seemed to need at that point. So that side I thought, oh, I'll make it a big tree. So I covered everything over in brown and made it a big tree. And then having looked at it, I thought, no, it doesn't fit the scale of all the little uh, stones and things that I put in. I thought, no, I can't have it as one big tree. It looks weird. So I then decided, well, maybe I could have a tree that had grown up nestled in like a rocky crevice. So this is what I did in the end. So I covered the outside again in just, you can see it's all different colours, just in my rock colour that I mixed together. So I've covered most of it all in that, apart from a small bit at the front which will be some wood, and then I'll go back and I'll shape that in a minute. So obviously don't forget the back, although people don't really see the back, you still want it looking nice. And here I'm trying to make a bit of a hollow between the tree and the rocks themselves, and I don't want to leave that rocky part just flat like that. I want to be able to build some rock shapes onto it, so it's got some rock, definition to it. I don't want it just a flat grey area. So this is what I'm doing here, and I'll keep working on that as well. But I still don't know at this point what I'm doing with the tree. I just had some upright areas, and I thought I've got to do something with them. So that's why it was a tree to start with. The lighting kept changing, as you can see. It was very, one minute it was really sunny, and then it got a bit dull. And I do have lights shining on this. In fact, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4 daylight lights shining on this. So sometimes, but I have them by a window, and so sometimes it gets extra bright. So my apologies if the lighting keeps changing. So this is the point I decided to put a little door in. And obviously it needed a little door handle to go with it, so. And then I just surrounded that in some really dark brown wool I had. But the nice thing with this is you could take even longer than me. I wanted to get this ready for this video today, so there's little bits I may go back to later and do extra to. But things like with this one, you could have had a little porch over the door. There's quite a lot of extra little bits that you could do with it. You could put a little lantern next to the door. I was trying to think after I'd finished it if there was ways I could put those little LED lights in. I'd probably have to do it on the next one, but little battery one lights, and maybe have a light in his window and a light for his porch, and maybe some little lights down by the river. So I've done all the shaping with my needle. I've pushed in areas and sorry about that, pushed in areas and things to give you a bit more interest on the land. And that's what I keep doing. I keep doing this to try and it's like drawing with a needle, really. my thought was this would be a root from the tree. So I have a few roots coming from that tree and going around the rocks and things. I'm trying to make a little bridge because whoever lives there has got to get over the water. So I've just made a little sort of stone bridgey bit. I find whenever I needle felt something, I don't know whether you're the same, but I always seem to have a little story that goes with it. In my head, there's like a little person, and that's why I'm thinking, well, they can't come down the steps and not be able to get over the water. Who wants to keep jumping the stream? So in my head, I've always got like little, they come to life for me, I think is what I'm saying. I hope you're enjoying the Tuesday, because I felt like they are a little bit different, and I know I'm enjoying them, and honestly, if no one was watching, I think I'd still do it anyway. But I'm glad you are watching. Talking of which, if you are and you're liking it, please don't forget to push the like button for me. It makes a big difference apparently to YouTube. It'll show my videos to more people and help my channel grow, and I would very much appreciate it. So if you have a moment to look down a bit and push like, I'd be really grateful. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. It's quite unreal. I thought there weren't that many people who enjoyed felting. So I'm so grateful to all of you who subscribed. So here we are. I'm just building up the rock side a bit more, keep it interesting. And because there's still a bit of give in the wall of that pillar, I can make dents with it. So as you can see here, I'm just felting shapes actually that's already in the wall. And this is obviously just a bit of yellow. I actually mixed, I think, a bit of yellow and orange for this little window. And again, I'm just using the same dark brown wool I had just to go around the outside of it. I may go back and add another window on the side as well, because I think it would be nice with another window. So what I might do at some point is I will get my things I've already felted back out, maybe later in the year, maybe near Christmas, and we'll go back through them and I'll show you what I'll change or what I have changed, so you can see what's new or what's different, if there's anything I've done. Here I'm just lining the riverbank a bit with that dark brown as well, because I wanted a little bit more definition of the bank to the water, and I'm still just adding rocks and things. This is a handy little tool I have here. It's got 2 needles in it. You can put 3, but I tend to just have it with 2. Just have to watch your fingers, because having 2 stick in your fingers is even worse than 1, so do be a little careful. What I'm doing at this point is I'm just looking at areas that look a little bland, or if they need something else, and if they do, the easiest one for me was to add another rock. So this side I'm thinking is more like a little hill that you'd be climbing, whereas the other side was the tree into the rocks itself. And then I've got to finish the top with something, so I'm putting a couple of rocks on the top of them. But I have to say, this is so much nicer. It's on my desk where I work at the moment, and it's so much nicer to look at that than just a plastic stand. Because the other good thing about this as well is it uses up all your odds and ends. So I did use them for the base, obviously, as you saw. But if you've got other little bits and pieces, you can add that on it as well and use up all your odd bits. So I've got a little lavendery purple here because I was thinking of heather on the moorland, that kind of thing. So, and I just wanted a little bit of colour that would lift it from the greens. I haven't gone mad with it, I've just in a few little places. You'll have to let me know if you have a go or what you make, because I'd be really interested to see. And I think potentially this is another one that would make a great present for somebody. Because it doesn't have to be this countryside scene, it could be anything really. And I decided to add a bit more of my greens to it, just one colour green, because it was getting a little bit bitty colour wise. It was very difficult to see individual things because it was starting to, there were so many colours in it. So I decided I wanted to add something, sorry about the dog's feet, I want to add something that would just even it out just a little bit. So I added a bit of, I think it's the moss green I use, and I add a little bit of that around it in a minute just to calm it down a bit. It's just another rock on the other side. I didn't want to leave any areas sort of unfinished, which is why I've put the bits on the top. But you could have just left them, but I think it looked literally like you hadn't quite finished it. But this as well, you could make little tiny sheep and put some sheep somewhere, or goats. You could have a bird. The other thing I was thinking as well was I've got some wire, and I was contemplating adding some wire so that it came up from those two tool bits just to the top of the back of my phone, and I may still do it, cover it in wool and then make it look like tree branches, something like that, or you could hang clouds off it. It sounds a bit weird, but it was just possibly a little bit of extra support for the back of the phone because it sat taller than this actual shaping. But it didn't need the extra support, it was just an idea. So this is where I'm putting in some more of just one colour, so it's a little toned down a bit. And I do think it helped because it was so many colours in there. And then I went round, I actually used some black, and I went round some of the stones and just put a little shadow, a little definition in for them because they were getting lost as well. And this is just some more of that moss green, and I was just trying to even it out, like I say, a bit. And it did expand beyond the green base that I was felting onto, but I didn't really mind that too much. You can tuck it right back if you want to, but I'm still thinking about, you'll see at the end when it stands on that stand, I'm still when the actual felted thing I'm doing now stands on that wooden stand in the background, I may add some more felted wool to it and come down over that stand so you don't actually see the wood at all. I haven't decided yet. That's another one of those I might come back to and have a go at. But it depends. Looking at it like this now, you potentially wouldn't need the stand. The wooden stand, potentially, because I think the plastic stand stays in, holds the phone up anyway. I just wanted something sturdy. I wanted to be sure. I tried the plastic. I took that out in the end. That was to try and keep the glue away from the area that I wanted to put that stand in and out of. But it just got in the way, so it didn't make any difference in the end. Because obviously I was going over that and I was a bit concerned that the glue might soak through. This is a generous amount of smelly Bostik. Now you can see why I said felt that little green bit first. Well, because I've tucked that right up to the edge. But you would have seen a green line. And I'm just making sure it's all well pushed down. And I'm just checking that the stand actually still goes in. I was lucky because mine was clear, but it wouldn't matter what colour your stand is. And if necessary, you could needle felt a thin sheet of something and put it across your stand if you didn't want to see it. And then when it was dry, I was very careful here because obviously I've got wood under there now, and I just decided to make the little river fall off the edge. But I'm really pleased with this. I love it. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I do hope you have a go. If you do, don't forget to let me know how you get on. And I will see you for Friday's video. And if not, I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a nice week. Bye for now.